Hello, in this video we will speak about practical pawn and games. I will show you how modern chess players like Kasparov and Carlsen use the old idea of greatest Akiba Rubinstein. You will definitely enjoy this video and that will be practically useful for you because you will know what to do if you have a pawn and game. Let's start from the game of Akiba Rubinstein where he played as black in this position. What can we see? The normal way for the endgames is just to immediately start advance the king to the center. But in this position, white will do the same. So we need to try to find something else, how to use this position. And we can see that the pawns are weak on the king side. That's pretty obvious. So how can we use the weaknesses to improve our position and attack the white's position? And Rubinstein starts to advance his king. He moves with a king to f6 with a clear idea to go king g5, h4, h3, h2. That would be really a winning approach because what he's doing, that he's attacking a pawn weaknesses. So white decided to move their king to help the pawns as fast as they can. And finally we have this position. That's like an interesting point now because yeah, we advanced our king. This king is really passive and white obviously needs just to stay on a place king h1, king g1. But how to win this position? It's basically we are speaking about the domination for black. So first stage, we need to improve our pawn structure and maximum, improve the position in general. And Rubinstein starts to advance the pawns. Firstly with the e5 and on king h1, b5. That's a very nice move, b5, because it's fixing the white structure. And now, just to be sure, we have a reserve tempo to play at some moment a6. It could be very helpful to make a zugzwang on the board when we need to put white in the zugzwang. I mean, by giving them the extra tempo. So a very useful move. The white strategy is still the similar. They're trying to stay on the place with the king, king g1, but it's not worked so well. As we spoke before, we need to advance our position on maximum before the final breakthrough. That's a kind of a rule of the domination. So f5 here, g5, king g1, h5, king h1. So now this position is basically advanced by black on maximum, and they need to find the breakthrough. And now Rubinstein provides a really nice idea that would be very helpful to the latest great chess player like Magnus and Garry. We will see what it is. He started with the g4 and white decided to play e4. White's trying to set a small trap just because it's probably the only chance. The point is that on takes they will take and the f-pawn is surprisingly passes up. But for sure Rubinstein was careful with this idea and he took on e4, takes h4. What's going on now? Now basically he's getting ready to trade all those pawns to clear the way to the king to this side to take the weakness on e4. And because his king is better than the king of white, that would be absolutely winning. So let's see how he used it. After king g1, g3, takes, basically white resigned immediately. The point after takes on g3, king g3, we are easily coming with king from f3 to e4, capturing the pawn on e4 and having an absolutely winning position. In the next game that we will see, the game between Sveshnikov and Kasparov, Kasparov used the same idea. Let's switch to that one. So that is the position. And Kasparov, who is playing as black, is looking forward to take the pawn on e2 under his control. So white played king d3 in this position, trying to limit the black's king, right? But the black king is not interested. He is coming to the queen side. White needs for sure protect the pawn on e2, otherwise it would be absolutely winning for black. Here, king b1. And how to win this position? In a similar style as Rubinstein did. a5, king e1, a4, takes, and for sure we are taking with the king. Why? Because we may need this pawn to trade this for that one. Now on king b2 we have king b4 and we still will go king a3 on some next move. So after king b1, king a3, king a1, b4, the Rubinstein's idea is in the building. So king b1, b3, black won. White resigned because after takes, our king for sure will come to take the pawn on g3 and the rest of the pawn chain. So that's how the idea works, and that's why you need to learn classics, because you will be able to use the same ideas. To prove it one more time and to see the nice example of this Rubinstein idea, let's go to the Magnus Carlsen game. He played as white against Ho Fan in 2016, and in this position, Ho made a big mistake. She played h5. This move is basically losing. What's the point? The point is that now white can advance the king to b6. You see the similar ways how it was in the two previous examples, right? Isn't it? So for black, it was necessary to play a5 to cover the b4 square. That was the move that makes blacks able to have a draw in this position. So like on king d4, I'm ready to play king e6. I will limit the king of white and stay on the place, and that's it, like king f6, king e6. So if white will, after a5, try to play b4, that's definitely not helpful. I won't take the pawn because after king b4, the king can be still advanced, but I will just stay on the place. For me, it's basically doesn't matter which pawn is on a5. It's still a draw. So after king b4, king c8, if even white will try to sacrifice this pawn to finally get the way to the king, I have king b7, and again I'm limiting the king. So it's like a key squares. With my king on, with the white's king on a5, I need to have king on b7 or a7. White's king on d4, I have king on a6. White's king on h4, I have the king on g6. And white can't improve the position here. For sure, you can try to do this for white, but unfortunately it's impossible. So returning back to the game, Ho played h5, and Magnus used this immediately. King goes to b4, and this position is winning for white. So it costed only one move for Ho to get a losing position. King c8, king a5, king c7, and now we need to have a reserved tempo strategy h4. So what we are doing is we are forcing a Zugzwang for black. Remember, as we spoke about the move b5 by Rubinstein, is it funny that here we finally use this trick? So on d4, I will just play king b4 and take this pawn very quickly. So king b8 looks like the only one move for black, but now king goes to b6. King goes to c8, b4. Our idea is similar to the Rubinstein. So we are planning to play b5. King b8, b5, takes, 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 takes. Now our idea is very, very easy. We want to play c6, b takes c6, king takes c6, and take on z5. Ho tried to play king c7, but the reserved tempo strategy saves us again. c3. And black decided to resign immediately. The problem is that the king needs to go somewhere. For example, here, I can go king b6, right? Here, c6, takes, takes, and a very similar point to the Kasparov's and Rubinstein game. So that's how even Magnus used this idea. And for sure, you also need to know this tricky idea and how to play this practical pawn endgames. In the very end of that video, I want to show you one small example from the latest game. It was the game between Firouzja and Nakamura, and that shows us the importance of pawn endgames knowledges. In this position, Alireza, who played as white, surprisingly, like king e4, saved the position. It's like basically the draw for white from the position of the power. But he surprisingly played rook c5. And that's the final mistake, because after takes, king e5, the pawn endgame is absolutely winning for black. They will take all the pawns, and finally Nakamura won. So remember that you need to learn endgames and be good on them, but even the greatest can make some mistakes. I hope that this video was useful for you. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, to leave a comment, and I will see you in my next episodes.